Hi everyone, Brian from Variable Traders here. Another weekend, July 27th. This, of course, is the weekend video. We'll check out what happened last week in the markets, and then we'll take a look ahead. We'll see what we got coming up this week, and there's certainly lots of stuff on deck. Tons of earnings from some of the big tech stocks, as well as the Fed rate hike decision, which is probably going to be no rate hike. But Fed Powell will be speaking at 2:30, so lots of things to keep the markets on edge this weekend. And if you have nothing else to do, or if you want to check out my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, it is free this weekend, free on as a Kindle version. So if you want to check that out, it is there as well. So let's get down to taking a look at what happened last week. So as always, let's start out with a quick week in review. We had the PCE index that came out on 2.5% on Friday. This, of course, is the Fed's favored inflation gauge, and it was a number that was basically what everyone had expected. That's a year-over-year number. Personal income growth came in lower than expected, 0.2 versus 0.4, maybe showing that the consumers sort of backing off a little bit here. So the data really continues to give optimism for traders and investors that a rate cut is on the table. It's almost at 100%, according to the CME Fed Watch tool. So everybody expecting that rate cut, maybe not in the coming week, which is when the Fed will meet on Wednesday, but maybe September looks very good. August, there is no Fed meeting, by the way. Indexes, pretty mixed on the week. Again, tech continued to be under pressure, down 2.6% on the Qs. SPY down, you can see a little less than 1%, but the IWM small caps continue to perform well. The Dow looking pretty good as well. Not just a fraction there. Utilities and healthcare, once again, biggest gainers on the week, sort of the safe haven trade. Technology and communications, they showed up last week and they were down again this week. The 2-year Treasury and the 10-year Treasury, sorry, I'm sort of in the way there with my picture, but they were both down based on the PCE data and other data that's coming out showing that the Fed's probably going to lower rates. US dollar kind of flat on the week, and Bitcoin up big on the week. They've got it had really pulled back a lot during the week, but then it bounced again, and we've got the Bitcoin conference going on in Florida this week, so a lot of hype there for Bitcoin. So that was pretty much your week in review. Okay, so before we go on here, I always like to do a quick plug for my books that are available on Amazon. You can see them there, Profiting as an Active Trader, How to Swing Trade, my oldest book, and my latest book, How to Trade Options. And you'll notice I do talk a lot about options trades in the room here or on the video as well. So if you want to check those books out, they are available for sale. So let's get down and look at some charts here. Okay, so quick look at where we are with the indexes, and as always, like to start out with the bonds. This is the long bond TLT ETF, so 20-year, and this you can see we're continuing the prices of the bonds kind of pulled back during the week, but then we continue to move back up here, especially on this PCE data, which really supports some rate cuts. So bond prices continue to move up, which means yields are continuing to remain lower or move down, which is what we saw this week with the yields. As far as the Dow goes this week, had a nice bounce back on Friday. You can see that nice move up there. And we are looking like we've maybe put in a temporary bottom, kind of not surprising where we put in the bottom. You can see this was a previous high, and we came back and checked that, and now we are moving back up again, maybe to retest these highs, depending on some of the earnings that are going to come out this week. I think a lot of people are looking at earnings on a lot of these stocks, and just sort of gauging as to whether the earnings are going to justify sort of the high multiples, relatively high multiples that we have on some of the indexes right now. And we can see if we look at it on a weekly basis, we do continue to be in an uptrend. You can see these above these moving averages on the Dow. Let's take a look at the Qs here. That's a week. Let's take a look at the daily first. And I'm using trading terminal here, so you can see how easy it is to flip back and forth between different time frames. So Qs on a daily, we did seem to find a bottom here. Again, this is an area that was a prior high where we kind of moved through, checked back, and then moved forward. So not surprising, we are getting a little bit of support here. Question is, with the Qs, are we going to be able to hold that? And I think that a lot of that's going to depend on, again, some of the earnings that are coming out this week. Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Intel, a lot of big names. But you can see here, we're just barely on a weekly, we're barely holding on to this, 20 EMA. So pretty important level right here on the Qs. On the SPY, let's take a look at the daily chart first. You can see here we kind of pulled back again, kind of pulled back into an area where we broke out from back here and bounced back on Friday. So maybe we get a bit of a continuation here, but you can see we've already broken down below both EMAs on the daily and 9 and 20. And they've crossed over actually, so definitely sort of a change in character in terms of where we're going. And you can see what happened when we had a change of character here. We did have more downside, so we'll see what happens next week. Again, I think a lot of the reaction is going to depend on some of the earnings. You saw what happened with Google this last week. Google actually put in some pretty not bad numbers, but the market really didn't take them very well. So again, we'll see how the earnings, the reaction to the earnings gets this week. But you can see on the weekly, we are just holding on to the 9 EMA on the SPY. As far as the IWM goes, again, this is the index that really is powering higher here. This is the weekly chart. We'll just take a look at it on a weekly basis, and we're getting up into an area where there could be, we are sort of testing this prior area of where we spent a lot of time back here in 2021. So you can see here, there's your high right there, 244. There's maybe a bigger high, 232. So, as we get into this area of consolidation, you can see there's a lot of volume and transacted here. And if we can push through there, it should be an relatively easy go to get to 242. Again, depending on what we see with the earnings this week. But IWM still looking pretty solid here as we break out on a weekly basis based on a reduction in interest rates. And a lot of these stocks are pretty interest rate insensitive. So you can see here, Bitcoin had a really volatile week. Let's look at it on a daily just to show you how volatile it was. We dipped down here on Wednesday, back down to into the low 60s, and then we came back up, sort of breaking out of this little pattern here. But this we're going into a weekend where we're getting this big Bitcoin conference in Florida. Could be a big run up to that. And we'll see if it's a buy the new or buy the news, or buy the coming news, and then sell the news after. Buy the rumor, sell the news. So we'll see what happens there on Bitcoin. And that was it for the indexes for the week. Again, they're going to be pretty earnings sensitive as we go into next week. Okay, so let's do a quick review of some of the trades we did this week and some current stuff I'm in. If you were in our room this week, you knew we had taken, myself and Andrew had taken a position with Crowd. We thought that, based on the reaction we had from that sort of disastrous rollout of that software upgrade that caused a massive shutdown of a lot of computers, we thought it sort of bottomed here around 250. So we sold 240 puts that expired this week, and a bit of a swing trade there, a couple day hold. And those got a really good premium on those, got over almost $4 for them, and they expired worthless on Friday. And this could be a good setup for next week as well, but certainly that was a nice trade on crowd, taking advantage of an oversold opportunity. TNA is a stock I'm still in. It's been pretty volatile over the week, but I think it's getting ready to break out here, and that's the an ETF that's based on the small caps. Boeing still short these 260 puts, but looks like it's really put in a base here. Possible. Looks like it's just going to settle into a range here for the better part of the rest of the year, probably, unless something terrible happens again. But there's your high, and sort of there's your low established for various opportunities. And I'm still short the 91 puts. Various opportunities I talked about on BA would be like selling puts, selling calls, or using verticals to reflect the fact that BA is really going nowhere in a hurry. So, and I'm still short these. Sorry, I'm skipping around here, but they're still short these 91 puts on TLT, so they're okay right now, I think, as long as we don't get any big inflation data looking like inflation's coming back. So that's where we are right now in some of these trades. So let's talk about some potentials for the coming week here. Again, I mentioned crowd. I think there's another opportunity next week maybe to sell again some 240 puts. We'll see what kind of premium we get on them, but it looks like crowd is kind of settled into an area where it may just hold here. Certainly you could also sell some upside calls, because I don't think crowd's going to have a big rally back anytime soon. So there's an opportunity there. Google reported last week, or I should say Alphabet. And you can see here, big sell-off here. We've really come down this sort of 160, this 160 area looks like a major area of support. So again, possible to go long because we got a nice doji there on Friday. Or, just sell some 160 puts. And maybe if you wanted some protection, you could buy the 150s or 155s, depending on the premium. And then just play a bounce back up, or just staying in this trading range for Google. So there's an opportunity there. Adobe came down. I was watching it last week, didn't pull a trigger on anything, but I mentioned this 530 level, and 530 looks like it's going to hold here. So possibility to take this long because of the price of it. It could be just as good to buy some calls, or maybe sell some puts if you want to take on a bit of risk. Intel really got a nice bump on this. Some of this stuff. I think there were some comments made by one of the presidential candidates that they wouldn't defend Taiwan, which if there was China was to invade them. So Intel got a nice bump on this idea that they are the local domestic supplier of chips. But you can see here that was short-lived. This week we really just pulled back to this area where Intel has really been holding again. So another opportunity there to pick up some shares or sell some puts. And Netflix is kind of rolling over here. This is a bit of either you can call this a double top, a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, but I'd be watching this area right here, because this is a pretty critical area of the support, this 630. You can see here that was a prior high. This is where we broke out from that high, pulled back and tested it, and then moved higher. But since then we put in a double top, lower high. So yeah, watch this 630 level. Possible that this could be heading down, maybe into the 600 range. There's a level here at around 600. So Netflix looking a little bit challenged here. So that's it for things I'll be watching next week, at least at this point. So Let's wrap things up here. So let's wrap things up here. What we're looking for July 29th. Again, I think it's going to be a volatile week. Of course, we've got Fed Powell speaking at 2:30, and we've got a lot of earnings on deck coming up here. So here's your levels, current levels on the Q, SPY, Dow, and IWM. You can see as far as economics events go, we do have a lot of stuff coming up here, especially Fed Powell speaking at 2:30 with the rate decision. Again, expected no change, but we do have ADP employment report. People keep an eye on that. Consumer confidence. So some interesting economic events, and then the employment reports on Friday, which will show how unemployment and the hourly wages are doing. So again, lots of economic data to keep things interesting this week, as well as earnings coming up. So you can see here lots of stuff on deck here. McDonald's, PayPal, SoFi. We've got the biggies coming up next week. Microsoft, AMD. We've got Starbucks. We do have Meta, QCOM, and then Amazon, Intel, Coin, which has been performing pretty well with, but volatile with Bitcoin moves up and down. So lots of stuff to, as I said, to keep things interesting and maybe keep some powder dry and see what happens as the dust settles here. So that's it, everybody. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you Monday at 8 o'clock, pre-market show. And then we'll be trading the market open live on YouTube, of course, too. So if you're fortunate to join us there as well, you're more than welcome. And don't forget, my book, How to Swing Trade, is available on Kindle this weekend for free. So feel free to check that one out as well. Bye for now, everybody.